Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna run you with a list of extensions that I use in VSCode as my editor for creating backend and frontend using JavaScript. So I'm assuming you already know about VSCode. It is one of the most popular editor in the world. So let's get started. As you can see, I have quite many extensions installed, but trust me, each one of them serves a very unique purpose and it will help you uh, increase your productivity, be more interested in while you code, depending upon how much time you spend in coding. So let's get started. The first one is auto rename tag. As you can see with the number of downloads that it has, it's a very popular extension. It does a very simple task, but it is, trust me, it is going to save you too much time. So what it does is you write HTML code in various places, React, plain HTML, anywhere. It just replaces the start tag and end tag automatically. You just change it once and it changes the other one automatically. Over a period of time, you'll just realize that it saves a lot of effort. So a must have in my view. Second one is about formatting and color highlighting Avro based files. This is mostly used in event based communication. Avro is a standard for that, and highlighting and knowing your schema makes a lot of difference. So a decent extension, but you can choose whether you like it or not depending upon how you want experience to be. Code Runner is a very amazing extension. It the name suggests it is code runner, you just run code, but literally it runs code. So normally when you look at an id, right, or a file or a compiler or a runner, you can run a file. With this extension you can run part of the file, so you can have any language file, any popular languages. You can even select few lines and run those sets of lines. Depends upon how complex and the code selection is, but I hope it gives you an idea. It can easily let you debug and isolate problems wherever you want. Moving on, .env is a plugin for highlighting again .env files, which we normally use in most of the JavaScript based application, React, Next.js, or whichever. This extension is also very popular, as you can see. Again, coming back to some look and feel based experiences, don't worry about the name. I personally think that having a good environment to code, color wise, look and feel wise, is very very important. So this comes in the themes category, wherein you can choose whatever theme you like. I personally like this theme. It is a very popular theme and it lets you work with JavaScript projects in a nice color format. I personally like this, but feel free to choose your own. Encode decode is a extension which lets you encode and decode literally between formats. As you can see, it supports base64, JSON, byte, MD5, SHA, SHA 512, 256, HTML encodes, decodes. These are very standards encode decodes, and it supports it. Then there are a couple of snippets generators that I use. So snippet generation is like, if you have used any phone, you have OMW, you type it and it will translate automatically to on my way. That is just the core idea of a snippet. So so what the team behind some of the snippets that I will show you has done is, they define certain TLAs, so to call 3-letter acronyms, and they generate code behind it. For example, for this React one, they have a lot of snippets that you can read about. It is as simple as RCFE, something like that, and it will generate the code behind it automatically. And there are a couple of them which I will run through them. ESLint is about quality. Again, it is lint, so it helps you code better by ensuring few rules and checks at the development itself. Normally, these are the issues that you catch in a CI/CD pipeline, but this lets you catch them early, and over a period of time it will help you increase your coding standards. Next one is import cost. Again, all these are tied to JavaScript based projects. This lets you know the cost of a particular import. You can optimize it if it is going high. So if you see here, this way you are going to embed 70 KB, and if you just go to the specific package, you can reduce it to a very less 2 KB in this case. So this is a huge performance improvement. So it lets you do that in the design time itself, so your code becomes less heavy on the memory and all. IntelliCode, both are these plugins that helps you code faster with the help of AI assistant. So it learns your code pattern, and then it suggests which method you want to call based on the context that you are in. And after a certain period of time, you will not even realize that it is working in the background, but it does, trust me. This snippet is about ES6. The previous one was for ES7 that I was showing. This is for ES6. I just have a couple of them because I work on different standards, ECMA standards. So this is for ES6. It does the exact same thing. For example, if you type EMP and tab, it just generates these lines of code. So just look at the documentation, and you'll be familiar with the key ones. Pick a few ones to start with, then you can expand your TLAs to generate code for you. It does not sound much, but over a period of time it saves a lot of keystrokes. So just imagine if you type IMA, this kind of imports you write too much in nowadays. So instead of writing all these keystrokes, you're just typing 4 keystrokes: TLA, which is IMA, and the tab. Saves you effort. The next two are for JSON manipulation and formatting. This one is to stringify JSON and back and forth. So normally what happens is in the logs you see a stringified JSON, and then you might be required to serialize it, deserialize it, and it helps you do that quite fast. One of the plugin I use while debugging applications. JSON tools is again for manipulation of JSON fast. Skipping the ones which are not relevant to JavaScript. Live server is an application or extension which lets you create a hot reload HTML page connected to a CSS in JavaScript without the need of a web server. So just imagine it like a lightweight web server for your HTML pages, just like PHP, and just look at the number of downloads. So trust me, this is used very widely. Again, when we have a theme, we also need to talk about icons and all, right? Whenever we were customizing Windows in 2000s and all, we used to customize the theme, wallpaper, icons. So this is about putting icons to files and folders and whatnot. This one is an amazing extension. I will tell you, the downloads will increase, but what it does is, based on whatever you have written, if you have named your variables and everything properly, it will analyze your code and generate a documentation for that particular function. And the documentation is quite decent and explanatory enough in my view. So I would definitely give this a shot. Node snippets is another code generator. It is not based on TLAs, so not a 3-letter word, but the idea is the same. So you type some short thing and it will give you a full-fledged code behind this. This is very I'm using this for maybe years already, and it lets me create a basic boilerplate application very fast. IntelliSense is just like a browser to the npm registry, so you don't have to know the package. You just type something and it'll let you know, suggest you which package you can import that particular utility or a function. Must have in my view. PlantUML, if you do not know about PlantUML, this is a massive platform online to create UML diagrams based on text and characters. This is just a plugin into VSCode, and you can just create them and view the diagrams automatically in VSCode itself. Prettier is I'm sure everybody is using Prettier nowadays, but Prettier is for code formatting for any language. whether it is JavaScript, JSON, CSS, SCSS, whatever you can code in JavaScript, it rest assured Prettier can format it. I'm skipping the Python ones in this video. Sonar lint is again for Sonar integration with lint. Lint is just a terminology we use. So Sonar is integrated via this plugin, and it lets you do security and quality controls right in IDE. A must-have in my view to improve your coding standards. Swagger viewer means nowadays every single API, there is no other way of documenting it rather than a YAML or a JSON file into Swagger documentation 3.x or whichever version. This lets you view the Swagger right in your IDE. So if you see here, this is a Swagger, and here you can view the entire Swagger just like you would have viewed in Swagger editor or anywhere. Quite decent extension, lets you visualize the entire Swagger file. To-do highlight is just a to-do highlight. Just in the comments we can write to-do. It does nothing, but it does a very small experience thing. So in your code you can just mention something as to-do or with certain prefixes, and it lets you highlight. That is the only thing it does, by the way. Okay, and see the number of downloads. And why it is that? Because seeing to-dos and fix me's or whatever is pending in a particular file, once it catches the eye, just by looking in the small screen also you can say that something is to be done here or something requires attention. So it lets you visually and clearly as to what is pending, what needs to be done, what is priority and all. So it lets you do that. And it supports specific keywords. Default is this. You can obviously customize it, but the whole idea is you see what you need to do very, very early, so you can keep specific colors and formats. That is the whole idea of to-do. And just by looking at downloads you can see it is widely used and it is gaining popularity by the day. Icons, I already spoke. There were other icons. This is another set of icons, so I use combination of both of them, and there again the downloads is ridiculously high. YAML, nowadays everything is defined in YAML, whether it is configuration file or Kubernetes. It supports both of them right out of the box, and it lets you write YAML in a proper structure, highlight any issues up front, and it lets you convert back and forth also with YAML and JSON. So that is also decent enough. Obviously you can customize every single plugin with the configuration. I will not bore you here in this video, you can read about it, but these are my extensions that I use. Please feel free to comment if there are any extensions that you find useful. Let's see if we can share it with a wider audience and make it more easier for everybody else. All right, that's all I had to share in this video.